generation after another on the government programs, babies born out of wedlock, young moms in the inner city, African American and Latino often, with not a father in the home. So instead of addressing that problem, they're actually throwing fuel on the problem and exasperating the problem. We have to ask, why are they poor? Obama's economic policies are failures, and we have to get to the root of the problem, not just string them along and exasperate the problem.
I'm with you on that. I appreciate your call. By the way, can I just ask you one more question, Mike?
Yes.
Oh, did I look? Mike, yeah. When I look at this de Blasio guy, and I'm thinking New York is about to go to hell in a handbasket, so to speak, in terms of crime and poverty and great ruin, just like it was before Giuliani came into office. Your thoughts on that, please, because you're there and I'm not.
What I do is when I meet people that are newer, that maybe only been in the city for 15 years or less, I always say, oh, you don't know what it was like pre-Giuliani, and they really don't understand it. Like it was one of the biggest turnarounds ever, and it was amazing, borderline miraculous what Giuliani did to the city to turn it around, how quickly, and that was one of the reasons why I became more conservative and Republican and supported Giuliani. It was spectacular, his leadership, and when he ran for president, the irony is he was a great leader on September 11th, but many people nationally didn't know how great a mayor he was. And
he was fantastic. Mike, I appreciate your call. I remember I would work in I worked in New York City for CBS News on the CBS Morning Show pre-Giuliani and then during Giuliani's tenure, and I watched before my very eyes that city turn around, and it was fantastic indeed. Hey, I want to tell you, Brian Sussman, by the way, filling in for Michael Savage, I want to tell you about Countdown to Mecca. It is in the stores now. And a lot of you have been waiting for this book. It's the final episode of the trilogy that Michael wrote, Abuse of Power, A Time for War, now Countdown to Mecca. Don't buy the liberal attack on this book. They're going to say, my God, he's calling for the attack of Mecca, the countdown. It's going to blow it up. No. If you read the book, and I know thousands and thousands of you will, it's about stopping the nuclear war that would erupt if Mecca was bombed. So it's a fantastic book. Just like Michael's novels, Page Turner, big time. Buy it in the stores. Countdown to Mecca. Brian Sussman in on this, The Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Your Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com. It's the only company I trust for tangible assets, gold and silver. Call 800-BUICOIN.
Countdown to Mecca is in the stores now. Brian Sussman filling in for Michael Savage. Michael, of course, out on the book tour, and I'm filling in for him today, but he'll be back tomorrow. Michael Savage was on my program in San Francisco this morning, so in just a few minutes on The Savage Show, you'll hear an interview with Michael Savage. Go figure. We were talking about this just a moment ago, and I told you I would find the stats, and here we've got them for you. So Obama, it's this big war against the haves. The achievers. He said they're life's lottery winners. Now, for those making a nice income, and for those of you who have money in the bank, and for those of you who maybe even gone further with your money and now you're managing hedge funds, you've worked your rear ends off to get there. That's a skill set and a talent, and you've ground it out. You've taken risks. There have been sleepless nights. And I know a lot of CEOs, for example, in the Silicon Valley, and these are guys who are working 7 days a week. When they go on vacation, can I tell you something? They've got that laptop with them out on the hotel deck. They're working night and day. Top 10% of wage earners in the United States. I've got the actual stats here. Listen to this. Top 10% make $125,000 a year or more. They're paying 70% of all taxes. The quote-unquote rich pay their fair share. Let's go to John, WMAL in D.C. John, thanks for joining us on the Savage Nation.
Yeah, living in the Washington area for over 50 years, I'm a transplant from New Jersey, which is even worse than the liberalism down here. But I've observed, I live on a cul-de-sac with neighbors that work for mostly the federal government that never go to work. There are no shows when they go in. They leave somewhere around 9 o'clock, and they're home by 3. These are people that work for the Department of Agriculture. They've been there for over 20 years. NASA is no agency anymore. Forget about it. I mean, the president wrote that off when he put this new guy in as the first black NASA administrator, who his job first and foremost, and that's the words that were used. He was supposed to help the Arab culture get back to where it once was.
Yeah, remember that? That was going to be the job of NASA first and foremost, right?
With these people that are making over $125,000 a year. They're not rich. This one family, the guy that works for NASA, he's got 3 kids in 3 different colleges. He's paying out-of-state tuition for 2 of them. One goes to the University of Maryland. I live in Maryland, actually. And so I guess he's paying the regular rate there. But $125,000, it seems like the price for the income for a rich person has come down, and the cost of living, I'm a retiree, I'm on Social Security, I'm not getting much money from the government, and the prices on the food and gas is going up again. And they're talking about raising the gas tax because it's not high enough. I guess they want to make it $5 a gallon. That's their aim, and that's been their aim. But
John, your point is well taken. First of all, $130,000 is hardly rich. It's a good wage, but there are too many slackers working for the government at all levels who are pulling down that kind of dough, and they're hardly doing the work that others are for it. I get your point. But again, okay, let's go. Thanks for your call. Let's go to this one. How about the top? Let's go to the top 5% of all wage earners. Top 5%. They're making $175,000 a year. Top 5%. They pay 60% of all federal income taxes. Come on now. Savage's new book is out. It's The Countdown to Mecca. It is a page-turner that takes the readers on a journey, and I'm telling you something you need to go to the bookstores to buy. We're going to talk about this. You're going to hear coming up an interview with Michael Savage conducted on my morning radio show. That's next. You don't want to miss it right here on this, The Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Brian Sussman in for Michael Savage. Mike will be back tomorrow. He's got the book tour. The big book came out yesterday, Michael Savage, and The Countdown to Mecca. And, of course, this is the final episode in this trilogy that many of you have been waiting for. Although it's probably kind of sad because when you read it, it's like, okay, well, it's over. Darn. I want more. But this is a page-turner. And, of course, the liberals can't stand it. And in my city of San Francisco, where I work with Michael, and I've been listening to his show since the 90s. We're all on the same station, KSFO. I do the morning show, and Mike's, of course, held down the top slot in the afternoons forever. But the bottom line is, this town, Michael's a prolific author. He's authored more books than anybody alive in this city. Seriously. And yet, you go to the brick-and-mortar bookstores, can't find the book. Oh, no. They purposefully do this to him. I'm doing a call of action. Go to your local bookstore and order it that way. Oh, sure, you can order it online, but let's put the bookstores on notice. You got to start carrying these books. A lot of authors are treated this way, but in this particular case, see, Mike's using the fiction platform to talk about what's happening today in terms of radical Islam. And he's saying some things here that need to be said. And in fact, they may be better said in a novel rather than on the air. So we'll talk more about that. In fact, this morning on my show on KSFO, I had an unexpected guest. Well, we thought he was going to be calling in a little later, but he called up early. He was excited. He was energetic. This is our conversation earlier today with Michael Savage. Dr. Michael Savage, the brand new book, the best-selling author. The new book is Countdown to Mecca, and he joins us right now live on KSFO. Dr. Savage, please.
Well, I'm not going to tell you I fed the seagulls and they're still living even though they love gluten, or that the sea levels haven't risen, but I'll just say the sea levels have not risen, and the seagulls love gluten. Go explain that one. But nevertheless, here I am Novel launched yesterday, can't be found in a San Francisco store. It's banned from entering this fair city of liberalism.
Wow.
Apparently, the chain stores reserve their book space for things such as Rebecca has 14 mommies, that kind of thing. But
it's a novel. It's a nonfiction novel.
I know, but that's not.
It's a fiction novel, but it's based on so much historical stuff. I mean, Dr. Savage, this is crazy.
Well, here you go. I want to entertain your audience, Brian. Your time is so limited. So the book Countdown to Mecca is largely set in San Francisco, as were the previous two novels in the trilogy. Right. I invented a new character called Sammy the Clown, the protagonist's half-brother, former Marine, injured in a motorcycle accident, living on the proceeds. He lives in an apartment building on top of Telegraph Hill, the famous building on Montgomery Street where Humphrey Bogart, remember the movie 1947, I think it was called The Steps or something? You know Telegraph Hill and the wooden steps. Anyway, he lives there.
It's a classic, yes.
Yeah, great building, and there's a chase scene that's astounding with the Russian prostitute who lives across the hall from him as they're running away from the military trying to kill him because she overheard something in the SF Hilton that she wasn't supposed to hear while working a general, okay? Nevertheless, how did I invent Sammy the Clown? This is a great story for your audience. I've never told it before. I went to dinner 2 years ago with my friend Danny Horowitz, the great lawyer. You know him. So he has really wonderful young children. I got a little too much wine on a Sunday afternoon in the garden of a Basque restaurant.
No such thing as too much wine. Come on.
That's true, especially on a Sunday afternoon in the sun in the restaurant. So the kid was there, and I really love children. I wanted to entertain him, so I made a crazy hat out of a napkin, and I started pretending to be a clown. I said, I'm Sammy the Clown. He has it on video. It's amazing. Oh, no. His little boy, Isaac, loved it so much that I started to think about it. And I said, wait a minute, Sammy the Clown, what a great character that would be. And that's how I invented Sammy the Clown and included him as a main sub-character in Countdown to Mecca. He plays a big role in the book. But people say, like, how do you invent characters? Well, they're everywhere you turn. Inside and outside of a person, there are characters, aren't there? Brian, do you make faces in the mirror in the morning saying, yeah?
I make faces at Katie all morning long. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you should see them. Jeez.
I mean, think about all the faces we make every day when we don't even know we're making them.
Right.
Right? To ourselves.
Right.
Like cooking, we have a face. Going to the bathroom, we have a face. And the only beings that see these faces are our pets. Think about what they have to put up with.
Right. They're looking at all of this all the time.
So anyway, that's a great character who came right out of my head. And I love my character, Anastasia Vincent, the Russian hooker. Here's a great line. She had the eyes of a Nordic wolf. Is that not descriptive?
That's a great one. Hey, we asked this question earlier amongst ourselves, but we had to ask you. And I'm very serious about this. Where do you find the time to do all of this writing? You have your show. That takes a lot of preparation. Where do you find the time?
What else is there to do in the 21 hours between shows? There's no life.
You've been a prolific writer. I mean, you are an incredibly successful best-selling author. And take away your radio show, these books would still sell, Michael.
Well, listen, take Isaac Asimov, the great science writer of, 20 years ago. He wrote 120 books. Did people accuse him of not writing his books? Right. You know, there's a phony lawyer who follows me on the air. He's a nobody. He sounds like Heinrich Himmler on a bad day. And the Heinrich Himmler of talk radio accuses me of not writing my own books, accuses me of this. He wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for me. So Himmler doesn't understand that there are people who are creative. That's something that lawyers can't comprehend, that there are people who actually are creative and prolific. Those words don't enter the minds of the Himmlers of radio.
There is a news story we've been just itching to get your comments on. No, I'm serious. Now, Savage, for whatever reason, I know you're busy with the book tour. I got that, but you're actually taking the day off from the broadcast, right?
I wanted to talk with you about it. I feel better. Would you mind if I did my show? I was going to have Brian fill in for me. I was so sick yesterday. So Brian was going to work a 50-hour day today. Brian, would you be angry at me, or you want to come on as a guest or something?
Michael, this is what friends are for, right? Okay,
No,
this is what friends are for.
I feel
okay.
great. I went to
you sound great.